years ago, I was in Costa Rica on a government turtle conservation project. I'd just left my job and it seemed like a fun opportunity to spend some time on the beach and hopefully get to see some turtles. What I hadn't expected was the way this experience would change my relationship with what I consume and my day-to-day choices in a fundamental way. I was on a beach called Ostional, which is on the west coast of Costa Rica, and it's famous for the arrebada, which is where hundreds and thousands of turtles come to nest on that beach at one time. It's also home to a very small number of critically endangered leatherback turtles. At night, we would patrol the beach and look out for turtles, measure them, tag them, and count how many eggs they laid. I was so lucky because I not only got to see a leatherback turtle, but I was actually there when she laid her eggs. And these eggs are so precious that we moved them to a secure hatchery where they could be kept safe and have the best chance of survival. During the day, we would do beach cleanups and clear up the masses and masses of plastic that had washed up onto the beach that day. Now, I'd heard of plastic pollution and I knew that it was an issue, but until then, I hadn't realised how much of a problem it was. We'd clear the beach 1 kilometre at a time, and it would take us hours and hours to pick up all the pieces of plastic. We'd come back the next day, and the same amount had washed up onto the beach all over again. We would help baby turtles when they just hatched from their nests and they were making their way to the sea. And sometimes there were so many pieces of plastic that they would struggle to get past them. And this plastic wasn't industrial waste. It was things like toothbrushes and flip-flops, cotton buds, straws, coffee stirrers, tampon applicators. They were all things that I've thrown away. They're probably things you've thrown away. And I realised that it could be my plastic right there on the beach. This wasn't some global issue I should vaguely worry about. This was my problem. All the plastic that I've ever used, that's been given to me or that I've bought, is still out there somewhere. Plastic pollution is in our rivers, our oceans, and a significant amount has even been found in the Arctic and up Mount Everest. Every week, each of us consumes a credit card worth of plastic. And this plastic is also harming the natural world. Critically endangered turtles' behaviour is changing both because of increasing temperatures due to climate change and plastic pollution. One piece of plastic is enough to kill a turtle by puncturing or clogging its gut. And studies have found that 52% of sea turtles have ingested plastic. In some areas, 8 out of 10 young turtles have been found to have eaten plastic. Choosing a reusable cup instead of a disposable one. Deciding not to take a carrier bag. You may not see the impact of these choices, but they make a difference. That's a coffee cup that a baby turtle won't get stuck in. It's a plastic bag that it won't eat, thinking it's a jellyfish. A bit later, I was on a charity project and I found myself in a town in central Tanzania. I came across a shop that was selling beautiful handmade jewellery, clothes, cushions and homeware. I loved the products, but I was even more amazed to find out about the charity behind them. This charity provides training, employment and adapted housing for people with disabilities Life can be very difficult for disabled people in Tanzania. There's a lot of stigma associated with disability, and many people live in extreme poverty, are hidden away, or rely on begging. The charity provided people with skills training so they could set up their own crafts businesses or work for the charity for a fair wage there in their workshop. They used the revenue they generated from selling their products to fund their activities, like building adapted housing for their staff or providing therapeutic treatments for children with disabilities. I realised that these products weren't just colourful or nice to have, they were actively improving people's lives. They were making a positive difference. In Costa Rica, I'd seen for myself the harm caused by our disposable buying culture and the way cheap products were impacting the natural world. But in Tanzania, I began to realise that there were enterprises creating products from sustainable materials and providing life-changing work. They were making a positive impact. Our choices create an impact every day, and instead of feeling that we're harming the planet or other people, you can choose to create a more green, fair, and hopeful future. And these choices don't have to be hard or complicated. It's simply a change of habit. We're all too aware of the harm the fast fashion industry can cause. It's estimated that by 2050, fast fashion will be responsible for a quarter of the Earth's carbon emissions. We also know that many people working in the industry are working in dangerous conditions or face exploitation. But there are enterprises across all industries doing things differently. Manufacturing products from sustainable materials, creating long-lasting items, and providing fair and safe work. Some provide employment to people who may otherwise struggle to find it or who face discrimination. When I returned to the UK, I became passionate about finding charities, social enterprises, and green businesses that create products with purpose. I realised I could make my own impact by sharing these products and the stories behind them with people in the UK. We can all make choices right now that support the fair and sustainable future we want to create. And these don't necessarily have to be big decisions. It can be things like thinking about where you buy your daily coffee from, choosing to carry a reusable bag, or maybe eating a plant-based meal. The power to make these decisions is in your hands, and you can start or build on them today. In a world where 1 million animals are facing extinction, and it's estimated there are more slaves than at any other time in human history, it's understandable that we might feel overwhelmed, helpless, or insignificant. But you make a difference. Your everyday actions and choices have an impact on our planet and other people, even if you can't see that. Making sustainable choices whenever you can makes a difference. Choosing to support enterprises that create a more fair and just world makes a difference. Considering what you eat, where you shop, what you wear, how you travel, what you throw away. All these choices have an impact. In 2015, some scientists shared a film of a turtle having a straw removed from its nose. Last month, the UK government banned plastic straws. In August 2018, a teenager stood in front of the Swedish Parliament building with a sign that said "School Strike for Climate." Just 2 months later, she was joined by 20,000 students around the world. A year on, she was joined by millions of people as Greta Thunberg prepared to address the UN. Making a stand and showing that we care about the impact of our behaviour sends an important message, whether that's to our friends and family, our schools and universities, the businesses we use, or our politicians. The challenges of climate change, destruction of the natural world, and the exploitation of others can feel overwhelming. But we have to believe humans can be better. And we can show this through our everyday choices and actions. Every one of us has the ability to make an everyday positive change. Our choices today shape our future. That power is in your hands. So what's the future you want to create?